Former Utah legend Steve Smith produces a documentary piece for the NFL Network all about Devin Lloyd, Aaron Lowe, Ty Jordan, and the number 22. I'll give you my thoughts coming up next on Locked On Utes.
You are Locked On Utes, your daily podcast on the Utah Utes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey guys, it's good to be with you on a Tuesday, April 26th edition of Locked On Utes. My name is Austin Facer. I'm the host of the show. I'm the opinionated, smart aleck, but enthusiastic host of the show, giving you all insight, analysis, news, fun stuff, some interaction. Bad pronunciation is also another thing I bring to the table. All that good stuff that you've come to love and enjoy here on the Locked On Utes show. I just acknowledge, I am getting started on this. I appreciate the massive response we've seen so far. It's been overwhelmingly positive. I really appreciate it. We've seen a ton of growth on YouTube, seen a lot of downloads on our podcasting side as well. So that's really appreciated. Just to those of you who, are giving me some feedback, really appreciate that. I will work on my pronunciation. I'll admit sometimes it's not the best. Something I can definitely do better at. So I'll take that in mind. I'll do the best possible job I can because I'm doing the show for you guys. You guys deserve it. A lot of passion about the University of Utah. A lot of exciting things. It's a really exciting time to be a Utah fan. Utah's coming on to the national radar in a lot of ways. And I think the way that we're going to see that this week, and we've already seen shades of that leading up to it, is going to be at the NFL draft this Thursday. As we all know and expecting, I said today was the 25th. It's actually the 26th. Coming up on Thursday, it's a big day. Utah's going to send its 9th ever first rounder off to the NFL. That's expected to be Mr. Devin Lloyd. He's not expected to go any lower than 32nd in the NFL draft. Most experts and pundits of the league are projecting him to go in the early 20s, somewhere around there. Kind of leading up to, we've seen a lot of Devin Lloyd getting some love from a national audience. The NFL themselves, they put him on a graphic promoting the draft. I saw that on Twitter, retweeted that. The most recent bit of media was a nice little documentary piece that former Ute Steve Smith, also NFL great, put together. He's analyst now for the NFL Network. He produced an NFL Network's documentary piece on Devin Lloyd. He was here in Salt Lake interviewing Mr. Lloyd, Coach Whittingham, Colton Swan, Clark Phillips, a number of other people surrounding the program, just to get a feel for Devin and to tell the story of last year of the 2021-2022 season. A story we all know very well, a story we're not going to ever forget, obviously, just due to the tremendous accomplishments and the tremendous tragedies that beset the program. The extreme highs and lows, I think, made it a very unforgettable year, and I think Steve Smith did a great job of telling that story on a broad scale. Some interviews to add a lot of great context. Some behind-the-scenes footage. Obviously, Steve went through the entire length of the story. He started the year before, the 2020 season, the last game of the year, the Washington State game, the comeback victory, covered the death of Ty Jordan, the awarding of the Ty Jordan Scholarship to Aaron Lowe, Aaron Lowe's death, and then Utah's resilience in overcoming those tragedies and winning the Pac-12 championship for the first time. Again, I thought Steve Smith did a really nice job of telling the story in a very digestible way. We all know the story, of course, but I think for the broader audience out there nationally, I think that it's something they're really going to enjoy, especially the way that he told it. There was some pretty amazing footage in there too. Some stuff I hadn't seen. probably the most remarkable footage was the video of Aaron Lowe's mother addressing the team shortly after his death, just giving them encouragement, sharing how much the program means to her and meant to her son. And Devin Lloyd just kind of talked about how that was really the green light for the team to keep going and to play out the rest of the year and end up the way it did was all due to Aaron Lowe's mother's remarks. I think that was a really powerful moment for me. That was definitely the gut-wrenching moment there, to see her choked up but still, expressing her appreciation to the team. I thought that was a really compelling piece of video. A lot of numerology in that video as well. Steve Smith pointed out that at the NFL Combine, Devin Lloyd was assigned number 22, just like the number that has been so synonymous with this story, and the number that's been so symbolic and emblematic in a lot of ways. That was kind of a nice little touch there to add. It got me thinking. The NFL draft experts are projecting Devin Lloyd to go around the early 20s. I was wondering just how remarkable it would be if he ended up getting picked at the 22nd spot. Right now, that spot belongs to the Green Bay Packers. The Draft Network says they have some need at linebacker. It's kind of a secondary need for them. However, if he's the best player available at that point in the draft, man, would that be an amazing additional footnote or chapter to add to the story, to see Devin taken at 22nd. We're just to be a little philosophical for you. We are pattern-seeking creatures here on the earth. I, for one, am not super into numerology, but I, like a lot of people, I think, we all look for connections and explanations for the way things go, especially the things that are confusing and don't make any sense. Kind of the same way that Ty Jordan and Aaron Lowe's deaths don't make a lot of sense. I feel like, man, I think it would make me burst into tears to see Devin Lloyd taken 22nd overall, whether that's by the Packers or if a trade is made. That would be just a remarkable little detail that I think would either close the book or perpetuate this story just even further. And I think it's going to be great. We're going to be really interested to see where Devin Lloyd ends up. So again, I thought Steve Smith did a really nice job of telling the story, and I definitely recommend. It aired on NFL Network already, but it's on YouTube. I believe it's the headline story right now, the top story on NFL.com. You can click on that. You can read the column that Steve wrote along with that, in addition to seeing the video that was aired on the NFL Network. So go ahead and check that out. It's definitely worth your time, for sure. I'm sure they'll air it again leading up to the draft, or air some highlights of it, especially when the time comes when Devin Lloyd gets his name called on Thursday. Maybe it'll be 22nd overall. Who knows? All right, so coming up next, I want to respond to a YouTube subscriber's comment. I believe he commented on the show I did last week, where I responded to ESPN ranking the Utes as the 4th overall team in the country. I'll respond to that comment. I think it's worth looking into. First, though, I want to tell you guys about Athletic Greens. They've got a product I use literally every day. I'm getting up there in age. I'm old. I can't pronounce things. I've got an upset tummy. I need better gut health. I've got to figure out how to get more energy, get this immune system running like a well-oiled machine. AG1's got the stuff for me. And here's the thing. It doesn't taste like a health drink or whatever. It's got like a kind of a tropical taste that I actually look forward to. Let me tell you about this stuff, though. It's got all the good stuff in there. It's got 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, adaptogens. This stuff, you might not know what it is, but it gets your day right. It gets you off on the right foot. It helps with energy, recovering, focus, and aging. These crow's feet that are building around my eyeballs. It's helping fight those back, and I think that's a tremendous benefit. Not only that, it's got just 1 gram of sugar, no GMOs, no nasty chemicals or artificial yucky stuff. Still tastes great. It costs less than $3 a day. That's how you got to look at it. It's an investment in your health. Way better for you than grabbing that morning coffee. And just as a little added bonus, a little something to make you feel good about your purchase, for every purchase you make, AG Athletic Greens donates to organizations helping to get nutritious food to kids in need, including the No Kid Hungry organization here in the U.S. So, to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/college. Again, that's athleticgreens.college. Take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. So, going back to what the comment that was, and really quick, before I move on to this, I got to tell you, big announcement for the first time ever, right? We talked about Devin Lloyd being in the NFL draft. How are you going to follow the NFL draft? Where's the best place to go? Where am I going to get my pick-by-pick live inside analysis? Where's this going to happen? Where do I go? What's the best place to watch this on? Go to our NFL draft live coverage, Locked On NFL Draft, live from our studios in Dallas. Draft is in Vegas. We've got studios in Dallas. We're giving you pick-by-pick analysis from our local experts and draft gurus, covering all 3 days as our draft team guides you through every pick and trade in real time. It all starts Thursday, April 28th at 5. That's Mountain Time. Available on Locked On NFL's YouTube page and on the Audacity app. So make sure you check that out. Anyways, back to the comment that was made by YouTube subscriber. By the way, really appreciate the response we've seen on YouTube. Seen a lot of people subscribe over the last week. That's been really great to see. But he commented on the show where I mentioned the lofty status that ESPN has given the Utes in their way too early top 25 ranking. And one of you fine YouTube subscribers commented that the focus should be not on the end of the year, not on ending up in the college football playoff at the end of the year. The focus should be on playing Florida in the Swamp in the season opener, September 3rd. That's where the focus should be. We got to take it game by game. This first game is going to be really tricky. And you wonderful YouTube subscriber, you commented that the Utes seem to struggle with early season matchups and struggle to get going early in the year. So you've expressed a little bit of concern there. You're a great guy, whoever you are, YouTube commenter. I appreciate you. I just want to give you some assurance, though. I've done some research. I looked at probably the last, 7-8 seasons of Utah football to see if Utah has a history of struggling in the early season, especially recently. And I gotta tell you, I don't think it's there. I don't think your concern is completely valid, right? Now, of course, we all have the recency bias. I think last year, early on, was a bit troubling, obviously. Starting with, 1-2 record. They beat Weber State in the season opener. Big deal, right? Who cares? I agree. Losses to BYU and San Diego State, though, those were tough to swallow. The BYU one, obviously because that's our rival. San Diego State because they're not a Power 5 team. And that was a game we could have and should have won after Cam Rising came into the game in the third quarter. So that was, I guess, an early season slip up, 2021. However, there's not a lot of other history, especially recent history, to go off of, right? 2020, they started with losses to USC and Washington, but who cares? I barely want to count the 2020 season as anything, being that they only played 5 games, finished 3-2. Who cares, right? I'm not lumping that into my analysis here. Let's go back to 2019, the pre-pandemic year. They started the year 3-0, had a narrow loss to USC, then won the next 8 games, lost in the Pac-12 title game, obviously, lost to Texas in the Alamo Bowl. 2018, Started 2-0, lost to Washington State. After that, finished 9-5, played in the Pac-12 championship game. 2017 started 4-0, then lost the next 4, finished with a 7-6 record. 2016 started 4-0 again, finished 9-4. 2015 started 6-0, including a big win over Michigan, which was at home. It was Jim Harbaugh's first game as coach of the Michigan Wolverines. So, I appreciate where the comment's coming from. I think getting the win over Florida in the season opener will definitely is definitely the most important thing right now on Utah's schedule. And a win would certainly be a step in the right direction. A loss, I think would make things a little bit discouraging. It's a non-conference game though, obviously, so wouldn't have too much impact in Utah's ability to get back to the championship. But rest assured, YouTube commenter, Utah, for the most part, does pretty well in early season matchups. I went back even further to see if they had some tough opening season opponents that we could look at. 2010, they defeated Pittsburgh, who came into the season ranked 15th. That was a home game at Rice-Eccles Stadium. I mentioned the 2015 win against Michigan. You might remember a few years earlier, 2008, which happened to be the Sugar Bowl year, as we all know. The season started with a victory over Michigan in the Big House over there in Ann Arbor. And then, of course, the 2004 season, we all know that's the Fiesta Bowl year, started with a victory over Texas A&M at Rice-Eccles Stadium. So the message I'm trying to impart to you, YouTube commenter, is that I respectfully disagree with half of your take. I agree the game at Florida is very important, obviously. However, I do not agree. I don't think there's a history of Utah struggling early in the season. I think there has been a history of Utah struggling in November for whatever reason. I think that that history has kind of dissipated a little bit in recent years. That's what I think. That's the time of year when I think of the part of the calendar that Utah struggles in. I am going to say, no, sir. Don't be too worried. It's an important game, but if history is any indication, I think Utah's just going to be all right. They're going to be A-okay. So don't even worry. I appreciate the enthusiasm, though. Let's get back talking about the NFL draft. We all know it's a foregone conclusion. Devin Lloyd is going to be the first Ute taken in the NFL draft. There's no doubt about that. It feels even silly to say that. But who's going to be the second Ute? What are the experts telling us? What's the projections there? What's the prognosis? I'll look into it. I did a little bit of research on what the pundits are saying. First, though, let me tell you about BetOnline. BetOnline is your source to get all the latest betting news, the lines, the odds, updates, all that good stuff. We've got the NBA playoffs going on. That's going to be a big one. I imagine there's going to be some NFL prop bets. Who's going to go number one overall? How far will this guy go? When will this guy go? Who will this team pick? Hell, if you're even into betting esports for whatever reason, this is something I like to make fun of every time I do the ad read for BetOnline. You can do that. You can bet on esports if that's really your thing. They're that good at the betting game. They've got analysis and insight on esports. So that's something else. Remember, it's very easy. Just go to betonline.net. It's not .com, .net. They've got all your good stuff right there. Easy enough on your phone, desktop. Subscribe to their email newsletter. They'll get you going. It's betonline.net, where the game starts. So, as I mentioned, we know Devin Lloyd is going to be the first Ute drafted, right? I don't think there's any competition really there. I don't think there's any, could someone else from Utah go ahead of him? No, that's not going to happen, right? We all know that will happen. My question is, who will the second Ute be? The second Utah man off the board and off to the NFL. Well, unfortunately, despite the fact that there are a bevy of Utes who have made some big plays for the program over the years, some guys who have, who check all the boxes seemingly in terms of accomplishments at the college level, physical skills, all that kind of stuff. Talking about guys like Nick Ford, Cole Fotheringham, TJ Pledger, Mika Tafua, Bam Olaseni, Britton Covey, Nephi Sewell. It's going to be quite some time. If you're sitting around watching Locked On NFL, which you should be, and you're waiting for the second Ute to get drafted, you should know that you're probably going to be waiting a very long time if the experts are to believe, right? So ESPN's Matt Miller, he did a full 7-round draft, mock draft. He is forecasting just 3 draftees. Lloyd is the first, obviously. He's not projecting another Utah guy to come off the board until the 7th round. He's expecting Nephi Sewell, linebacker, as well, to get selected with the 240th pick by the Washington Commanders. The final Ute he is seeing go off to the NFL via the draft is going to be Mr. Britton Covey, who will be almost Mr. Irrelevant. Will go just before Mr. Irrelevant's selection, or a few picks before it, actually. He'll go 259th to the Kansas City Chiefs, according to Matt Miller. I was like, okay, so that's ESPN's take. We appreciate them thinking so highly of the Utes going into next season. They're not always right, though, you know. Let's see what else. We'll see what other experts are saying. It's a similar situation, okay? NFL.com's Chad Reuter is predicting Covey to go before Nephi Sewell. Still in the 7th round, though, being the second Ute, taken at 252 by the Cincinnati Bengals. Sewell, he says, will go 7 picks later to the Chiefs, where Matt Miller projected him to go. I thought myself, okay, that's 2, fine, who cares? ESPN and NFL, those guys are clowns. They don't know what they're talking about. I went ahead to Pro Football Focus. They didn't have a 7-round projection yet, 7-round mock draft set up quite yet, but they did have the 250-player big board. Devin Lloyd, obviously high on the board at 15. Only one other Ute on the board, though, which is Nephi Sewell at 248. So it seems like it's going to be kind of an NFL draft sandwich on Utah bread. We'll see a Ute go early on. Devin Lloyd will go somewhere in the middle of the first round. They'll have nearly the entirety of the NFL draft finally bookended by either a late 7th round selection being Britton Covey or Nephi Sewell. That's really all the experts are saying. They're saying tough luck Nick Ford, tough luck Cole Fotheringham, tough luck TJ Pledger, tough luck Mika Tafua, which is surprising to me. And another one I thought was surprising, tough luck Bam Olaseni. So we'll see where they go. Just because, obviously guys don't get selected doesn't mean their pro careers are over. Obviously, these guys will sign with teams via free agency. They'll report to training camp. They'll fight for a spot on the team. And it's not impossible that a few of them will make the team. What's interesting is I remember, I'm sure you will, Chase Hansen, who wasn't selected, he signed with the Saints, shortly after the NFL draft as an undrafted free agent, and he's still on the roster. He actually appeared in a couple games. He's been in the Saints facility, their locker room, on their roster for like 3 seasons now. Despite not being an NFL draft selection, he's still found a way to kind of stick in the NFL. So just use that as an example. Just because, we don't see a ton of Utes getting drafted doesn't mean we won't see a few guys end up at the pro level. So it's a big week this week on Thursday, NFL draft. Devin Lloyd's going to be there. He's bringing Kyle Whittingham and linebacker coach Colton Swan along with him. It's going to be a fun week. We got all your good stuff here. So why don't you go ahead and make Locked On NFL Draft your second listen, hosted by Ryan Tracy and former NFL cornerback Eric Crocker. These guys bring the NFL draft to life every day with insight, analysis, all that good stuff on college football prospects, and a look behind the curtain at NFL front offices. Just like Locked On Utes, it's free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Go look it up right now. Get ready for the NFL draft. I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in.